Sure. So what you're looking at is a 1914 Buick Touring Car, and this is their 4-cylinder engine. And what this is, these are steel dual-cylinder jugs, so 4 cylinders total, twin jugs with water jackets around them. And you have your gear train for the cam. Your cam gear is here. This is your crank down here. Up here is your accessory drive. So this gear would turn your centrifugal water pump, and through the water pump it would come back here to this giant box here, which includes the distributor, a starter, a generator, and a magneto. So when you start the car, you would start on the ignition coil off the battery and then switch over to the magneto, which self-generates the power for the spark plugs. This also is a motor generator, which means that it energizes a generator in reverse as a starter to start the engine. It's always geared directly into the engine, so it's always spinning. So when you stop applying power to it, it puts out its own power. It generates power. So this whole side of the engine is one shaft that does, you know, all these different tasks in one row like that.
Wow.
And then the cooling system is the pump assisted hydrothermal siphon. So the engine, of course, is very good at generating heat, and the water inside the jackets around the cylinders cools the engine, but as it heats up down here, it rises and flows up this tube into the radiator, where it falls, and the whole thing circulates on its own without the water pump.
Wow.
And that's how it works.
That's amazing. That's quite amazing.
It's cool technology.
Yeah, and you know the information for this technology, especially cars of these times, is just nobody really knows them. You know, it's pretty nice to share it on the internet.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say so. I think it's a lot of fun to learn this stuff, especially if you're learning this stuff for the first time. It's fun to learn from the first examples of these automobiles. And I've always been fascinated by what was the first. How do you make a car when there are no cars? How do you make an engine when there's no engine? So it's like the very first attempts at designing this stuff is really interesting, where you find engineering solutions that you wouldn't expect. And some of it stuck around, like the overhead valve. Some of it's, you know, really goofy and didn't stay around at all. Like fabric brakes. Brake inside the transmission on the Model T in favor of powerful wheel brakes.
That's true. Yeah, the Model T did have a
we
brake
kept a
in
lot
there.
of the other features.
Yeah, these are greased. You spin them and it presses grease into these like swivel joints over here.
Yep.
Oh.
And here, in fact, I'll tell you what. Let me see if she'll start up, or if she's temperamental.
Okay.
She hasn't been started in a while. Let's see if we can get some. Let's see. We're in neutral.
Amazing.
This is a great engine. It does, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah.